Yoshi here, aka G-Unit. Let's get straight into it. My first impressions for the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5. And what you're about to watch in this video is pretty much a mashup of all the races that I did in yesterday's playlist on the live stream when this came out, and where I was testing it with a group of people. Pretty much half the lobby just downloaded it on the spot, and I was just pretty much testing this out from this perspective of a racing competitive playlist. And it really, what I wanted to display to you the positives from this before we start talking about the negatives. So the positive aspects you can see here, it goes to show how smooth the game is. Now, if you were to, here's an example right here. When a crazy scenario occurs like that with a pile up, you can actually easily, confidently react and maneuver and anticipate situations to avoid that. Perhaps if this was the PlayStation 4 replica of that scenario, you would not have escaped, and there will be a bit of hiccups, floating cars, a bit of lampposts in there, a bit of spices, and that cannot be refunded. Now, in other words, it's just very smooth. It's very smooth, and you feel like you have full control of the car in every given situation. The reaction times are justified as the 60 FPS. So, I've seen a few complaints over the motion blur, but it's barely noticeable, especially when you're so immersed and concentrating on battling and just making sure you don't take out the cars near you within your radius. And just look, I've used this car in a race before, and it was not the same outcome as I'm getting on this version of the game, purely because of how smooth it feels with the control of the car. And really, it's just you can't justify it by just looking at the gameplay footage, and that's the mistake that everyone's making, because there are such high expectations based on the hype and the delay from the release, and how it's almost a decade since they released a brand new GTA game. So there's a lot of expectations regarding the emphasis behind the enhancements and the expanded version of this game. Now, provided that, I'm not disappointed, right? They could have broken so much, and they could have completely ruined the mechanics. There could have been so much that could have went wrong, right? But they kept the game so similar, but at the same time different, but a good different, where your play experience is amplified to a whole new level of satisfaction, whether that's overtaking or side-by-side action, close quarter, bumper to bumper. Your level of confidence goes up, and you're not weary where there's multiple cars around you. Like, for example, here, you feel like you can just embrace the moment and really take part in it, rather than backing out or being too afraid of getting taken out by lag or floating cars. And it's just a beautiful sight to see. Like, aesthetically wise, it's very pleasing, visually speaking. And it's the synchronization of the game in terms of the environment and the cars, especially because you got to realize, right, this is multiplayer, it's online, we're playing against other players in the world, and to get this seamless, smooth, just this artistic point of view is very, very pleasing. And especially you come back home after a very long day of hard graft and work, you can just relax. And my curiosity is just ever evolving in terms of, I want to get a 30-man racing lobby to really test that large scale lobby out, and this is where I'm going to discuss in terms of the controversy behind the release of this. Now, I get that they delayed it, but not sure exactly the reasons behind it. But it was kind of good in a way, because it's very, very difficult to get a hold of the PlayStation 5 and the new Xbox due to the stock issues, and that's where people are kind of skeptical about transferring over, because the issue arises where, when the character transfer option comes when you first start the game, if you do transfer your main character from the previous generation of this game or the previous version, you're permanently stuck there. So right now, because I've moved all my character data over to the PlayStation 5, I can't go back onto the PlayStation 4 with the same level and the money and the cars and everything. So I have to start from scratch, level 1. Now, personally, it doesn't affect me, because if I was to go back to play with people on the PlayStation 4 who don't have the access to this game, I can just jump into a GTA 5 race mode and jump into their car and just play along, you know. And this is where the issue arises, where people just don't want to shift over just yet because they don't want to leave their friends behind because of their lack of access. But also, they don't want to, you know, permanently switch over their characters. But then again, if you are, all I'm saying is it's definitely worth it. And I was skeptical at first, but once I did it, I have not regretted it one bit. Like, I don't want to go back, because the more you play this, you know, the more weird it's going to feel at 30 FPS PlayStation 4 version. Because I'm currently playing at 60 FPS. You're going to get used to the pace and the synchronization of the environment and the cars, and your standards go up, of course, because, you know, your confidence goes up in terms of racing. And when you go backwards, it's like, whoa. But that's the funny thing, because people that are currently on the old version of the game, they're criticizing this from what they're seeing. However, it's not about what you see for this particular version of the game. It's about what you feel, and that is the key component of this commentary and this video is what you feel. You have to feel it for yourself in order to really grasp the full experience and the difference of what they truly bring out in this game. Because I'm kind of glad they didn't go over the top in terms of enhancing the graphics or expanding, you know, whatever they wanted to expand, because purely because the mechanics of the game hasn't been tampered with too much, I guess. Like, brake boosting is a bit difficult for some people now, or it's more challenging or whatever, like, but the overall concept is still the same, you know. And that's the great thing about it, is they haven't broken anything as far as I'm aware for racing anyway. And I mean, there are a few minor glitches here and there for certain cars, which I won't go into detail, because personally I'm not really that interested. But from my personal interest of competitive racing, it really, you know, it just hits the spot in terms of satisfaction. So feel free to let me know down in the comments below what you guys think, how you guys feel about the game. For those of you that haven't got the game yet, I'd highly recommend upgrading. If you don't have access to the new consoles, then I'd say just try and get one, and try it really hard, and be patient, because it's definitely worth it, and I'm sure you're going to have lots of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys soon. Check your sign out. Good night. Peace. Yeah.